Remember Balak? Haftarat Balak. I think that this week we'll skip the part where I explain how I plan to write about something entirely different this week and jump straight into the deep end. The connection to Parasha is obvious. There aren't many verses in the Tanakh that reference the main theme of Parashat Balak so bluntly. My people, remember what Balak, king of Moab, plotted and what Bilam, son of Beor, answered him from Shittim to Gilgal, so that you may know the righteous acts of Hashem. The question I want to grapple with is this: do the people remember? This seemingly arbitrary question doesn't come out of nowhere. Parashat Balak is unusual. Most Torah portions are told from the perspective of the Torah's heroes, Israel and their forefathers. What makes Parashat Balak unique is that it unfolds almost entirely around external characters. So the real question is, did the people even know what they were being asked to remember? Isn't that what the whole point of the story is? That Hashem saves us even when we're unaware of it? Now, I hope it's clear that as someone who has read Sefer Bamidbar more than once, I'm not really surprised that the people know the parasha. I understand that Parashat Balak found its way into the 5 books of Moses. What I find unclear is the lasting impact of this event. By comparison, events such as Yetziat Mitzrayim, splitting of the sea, entering Israel, and building the temple are mentioned throughout the Tanakh many times. How much of an impression did Balak and Bilam leave behind? A quick concordance search suggests that perhaps we shouldn't treat this dynamic duo as a single unit. Outside of their joint appearance in Sefer Bamidbar, Balak is mentioned only 3 more times in Tanakh, once alone in the story of Yiftach, and twice alongside his partner Bilam, once in our Haftarah and once in Yoshua's concluding speech. Bilam, on the other hand, isn't mentioned in Yiftach's story, but more than makes up for it. He gets solo attention in Dvarim, appearing again in Yoshua, and makes a final appearance in Nehemiah. Beyond becoming your newly found ability to wow friends at parties, this information sheds light on how the legacy of Bilam and Balak developed over time. When Moshe bans the Ammonim and Moavim from joining the congregation in Sefer Dvarim, his omission of Balak fits the message. This isn't a personal vendetta between Moshe and Balak. When Balak hired Bilam to curse Israel, he represented the Moabite collective. This insight, repeated nearly word for word centuries later in the book of Nehemiah, also explains why the Ammonim are lumped in with the Moavim. Although Ramban distinguishes between their sins, Ammon for not offering bread and water and Moab for hiring Bilam, I think Moshe is referring to the whole shameful Meda-Moabite nation, the children of Lot in all their infamous glory. Bilam's fate also distinguishes him from Balak. After the war against Midian, the Chumash lists in detail the enemies Israel dealt with: Evi, Rekem, Tzur, Hur, and Reva, the 5 kings of Midian. And then, for the alert reader, a surprised guest, Bilam. Why is this surprising? Because we last saw him heading home to Ptor Aram Naharaim. What's he doing on a Midianite battlefield? That reader might also ask what happened to our parasha's other star, the one who hired Bilam. On the plain level of text, Balak is not granted the dubious honor of dying by the Israelite sword. This contrast between Balak and Bilam becomes even more significant in the story of Yiftach. When Yiftach addresses the king of Ammon, who demands Israel vacate the land he claims they took, Yiftach asks, "Are you better than Balak, son of Tzipor? After all, Balak didn't dare attack Israel." And while Yiftach's claim fills us with national pride, it doesn't quite align with Yoshua's version of events. Yoshua says outright, Balak, son of Tzipor, king of Moab, arose and fought against Israel. So, which is it? Did he fight Israel or not? And more relevant to our discussion, what version of this does Micha expect the people to remember? In my opinion, and this is where I fully enter the realm of speculation, the differing messages, perspectives, and general ambiguity surrounding the story actually enhance the opening message. In Dvarim, Moshe brings in Bilam to strengthen the ban against neighboring nations. Yoshua, Moshe's right-hand man, tells the version he knows as Hashem's confidant, to whom the original story was likely revealed. Yiftach, a military leader living several centuries later, uses a king to speak to a king. When a story unfolds without witnesses, it can be molded to serve different narratives. Micha, in contrast, speaks many hundreds of years later and offers a different message. When we're close to an event, nationally or personally, we may be filled with frustration or pain. How could this happen? Where was Hashem when? Fill in the blank. Micha, looking from the perspective of the next millennium, can zoom out and view the whole process, and he doesn't paint the people in a great light. He asked his generation, which side of history do you want to be on? Shittim or Gilgal? If you don't want to be remembered as the people who sinned with Midianite women while Hashem was secretly saving them, just try to be good all the time. In memory of my beloved and heroic student, Amichai Shimon ben Ishayu Vatya Rubin, Hashem Yikom Damo, Tovi Holtz, one who loves Tanakh.